I'm here at Cafe Kraft in Nuremberg, Germany, with coaches Dicki Korb and Patrick Matros. Around the world, they are now known as authors of Give Me Craft, which, guys, I think is probably the best-selling climbing book in the world the last couple of years. So, congratulations on the success, the success of the book. I guess to begin with, I'm just kind of curious your individual philosophies of training for climbing performance. Is that something you can summarize in, a short answer, Patrick?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to think in roles, And is it a role where I'm as a trainer? Is it a role where I'm speak as a climber for myself? And give the advice to my athletes in a role as a trainer or as a friend. And this is for me the basic stuff. It's kind of psychological stuff, where it comes to very important things that when I speak as a trainer, I have to think about the athlete and what is good for the athlete and what is good for him to improve. And speak I as a friend as something different, maybe, for maybe at least climbing is not good for him anymore, so I have to speak as a friend. I have to say, okay, just be careful with that. And often the mistake as a coach is that they only speak about their personal experience to the athletes, And personal experience, I learned now over the years working with many good and top athletes, it's just a very little part of this whole training thing. And you have to get the ability to get some kind of empathy to the athlete and just to hear what he wants, because often they're not telling you exactly. And this, I think, it's the biggest philosophy and the biggest crux in being a good coach to do these things.
Yeah. So communication is very important.
Communication and try to get out of the athletes the hidden goals and the hidden wishes he has, or the hidden problems, but often the athlete will not tell you at once. He will speaks about other things.
Right. So it takes time. You can't on the first session,
of course,
know exactly where you're going with that person.
Yeah. So this is although we had many inquiries about online coaching, but it's not our way. It's hard for us to do this.
Right.
So we just focus on this personal coaching, which is because I can't give advice when I don't know the athlete, and the hidden wishes and the hidden problems.
Sure.
From
him. And as I often say, there's no one size fits all.
No.
Training for climbing program.
For sure not.
You need to very much tailor it to the individual, both physically and fit their lifestyle.
Yeah.
How about you, Dicki? I mean, you've been doing this for decades.
Yeah.
What is your...
For me, one of the most important things is the relationship also between the athlete and me. And I cannot work with everybody. I must have the feeling with this athlete. Right. And that's what Patrick said. When they ask us from Russia, from everywhere, say, hey, can you give us training advice or training plans? And you say, when you come here, and then we see how it works, and then we talk together. It needs hours to talk and to see how we can come together. And it's I think this is one of the most important things that you. The empathy and to feel with the athlete, that you can coach him and give him the right exercises. You see some magazines, they say, here are some training plans for the next month, and I say, oh wow, it's nice, but how can it work for a 14 years old boy or a 23 years old girl? They have different levels, and it's not possible for me. And so I
understand that.
I like to,
and I know even you guys will even climb outside with your clients, so you can see them performing on the rock. So
exactly,
that's important.
It's not only the training situation in the gym. What we want is that they can perform better on competitions or outside at the rock, and so we must see them there, the real situation. That then you know what to do, or you can.
What I noticed over the years. The most important thing in this training relationship and the best inputs from the coach, there was some things like not like do one more repetition to this set or to do this exercise. This wasn't the most important thing. It was most of all a mental thing, or a thing which was built on relationship. That, for example, an athlete who comes to us and want a training schedule, a training plan, you know, and we give to him exact number of repetitions of set, new exercises, and that the first moment he's lucky. But then you ask, okay, and you told me just before that you're a family man, and working the whole week, and your children, and how will you do that, man?
Yeah.
Are you just lucky that I give it to you, just to have it?
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not lucky with that, you know.
Right.
I'm lucky with giving you a plan you will realize and you will better and feel better and climb better with, but not only giving you the thing, you know. And this, I think, is the biggest crux. you know.
And you know, I think what you're describing there ensures long-term success.
Yeah.
You're not just giving them something that will help them climb better next month.
No.
But
No way.
long-term success over years
Yeah.
that will work with both improving at climbing and integrating with the rest of their life. Now, that leads me to my next question. Of course, you've coached many climbers from various countries, but probably none more famous now than Alex Megos. And I know you've been working with Alex since he was a teenager. I'm kind of curious, how does your training and your work with Alex differ today than when you first met him and you were training him as a youth climber?
Yeah, it's much more mental these days, you know, mental training, but not in this usual mental stuff, you know, the exercise, okay, just close your eyes, think about a happy situation and then go and do your best. Not these things, just more talking about life and talking about goals and talking about those hidden wishes which are not realized. And we started with just training schedules, and Alex is very precise with that, you know. I've never seen a guy training as hard as Alex when he wants and doing the things so precise as him. But over the years he got very good knowledge about this, about his body, and it's also sometimes when it comes to pure training, we counsel him to do another exercise and to do a new screen with him, but mainly it's focused on aspects about, okay, how can he do mentally the next step, you know. And I think it's very difficult to train an athlete over a long period of time, because in human development there are different steps, you know. They're youth, and then they come to adults, and their attitude is changing, and maybe it's come to the point where they say, okay, I'm for my own now, I follow my self-determined goals, and I don't need a coach with talking to me like do you have to do that, you have to do that. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to change.
Right.
And it was also a crux with Alex when he got adult, but I think we did it kind of right, you know, because the relationship with him is still, and we are still his trainers and coaches.
Right. How old was he when you first saw Alex?
13.
13, yeah. 13.
Okay. And was he climbing a few days per week, training a few days per week?
I think he climbed every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every day, and he was very motivated, and I think we climbed with him together 4 times per week some weeks, and he's calling again, can we go climbing tomorrow? And oh my god, I catch them up in Erlangen where they live, and then we go to the rocks, and so motivated. For example, the rock was completely wet. Everybody of the group, we were outside, everybody said, okay, no way to climb. It's completely foggy, and the rock was, you know what it means in Franken Euro when it's wet.
Right, yeah.
And Alex was so motivated. He climbed an 8B in a way it was, I thought it's not possible to climb it, he said, but he wants to climb. And then I want to climb. And this was...
But then how, as coaches, did you harness that and have him take rest days and avoid injury? And how did that work?
It's hard work.
Yeah, it's hard. It didn't work like, okay, you have to do nothing on this day, because we talk about that, but he would do something on this day. So we changed exercises for him. If you want to train on this day, then do something different. Do an athletic routine.
Okay.
Go for some gymnastics. And this worked best for him,
Right.
So he had some variations, some periodization over the weeks, and he wasn't just climbing all the
Right.
day. And I think this is the point why Alex has had no injury up to this date. He's no shoulder injury, nothing, and his training regime is hard. Even in quantifying it, he's training about 6 days per week.
Right.
Split training.
But it's not 6 days of campus training.
No, that's the point.
He's doing a variety of things, some general training, and
that's the point.
There may be days that he doesn't even put climbing shoes on, I assume.
That's the point.
When he's training.
Exactly.
That's the
And I think this is the point where climbing or training changed a bit. Yeah. Also, in the last years where we worked together, that on some days you have no climbing shoes on.
Right.
You just have the dry training. You make athletics or something,
Right.
or with the
Swing
rings and that,
trainer
and it's I think for some people it's hard to understand that it works for climbing, that it trains you good for climbing, and
Right.
also the antagonist stuff. Everybody think, okay, I must go for this way,
Right.
and
Yeah,
then
you
you
gotta
say you
work-
go this way,
you
and they
bet.
say, oh, I want to do a one-arm pull-up and not
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
push-ups, but
Right.
to bring the people, and now you see it works because it's so
does.
crowded at the training part in our gym now. A lot of people are training there and do the antagonist stuff, and this is nice for us to see to say,
Right.
hey,
Yeah.
because they are a bit more safe for their
That's
system.
right. That's right. Yeah. Usually when you see the injured climbers, either they're climbing too much or they're not doing any antagonist training or flexibility, mobility work, and they are setting themselves up for injury. So it sounds like you guys did a terrific job of preparing Alex to become what he has become today, which is one of the best in the world, right?
Yeah, sure, exactly.
Yeah.
I think so. And he trained his antagonist as hard as his pull muscles. Huh?
Right.
And I think that's the difference.
yeah.
The difference is that you train your pull muscle with the weight vest, and then it comes to the antagonist, and you go with the rubber band. And it's not the same.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That
it's
doesn't-
like this. No? It comes here. Is the pull sling? Here is the push sling, and then it has to come a bit closer.
little
that
closer,
you're
yeah.
in a
Right.
healthy way, and everything is working in the right way. And
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, and our philosophy with antagonist training is you have to get into it with a high impact. That doesn't mean that you gain much of muscles. Climbers are always afraid of gaining weight, gaining too much muscles. And you see Alex, he has not so much muscles like a bodybuilder, but he's able to do a ring routine at a level like a gymnast,
Right.
He could-
Train the nervous system. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Some intramuscular training.
Right.
And training the intermuscular coordination too,
Yeah, I think it really climbers need to understand why those exercises need to be done, because intuitively they say, "Oh well, what does pushing? How does that help me?" And that's why they
Cannot
need
climb a route like this.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And that's what they think. They say, "Oh, well, I can skip that." Well, you skip that, you will be injured.
But then
at
you
some
see them
point.
like this with the shoulders here,
Yeah.
and hey, hi, I'm
Yeah.
climbing. For
But
20
the
years.
message is getting out there. More and more coaches, and there's numerous books now that are communicating that, and that's a good thing. Now, in terms of talk of injury, Nurnberg here is, of course, the birthplace of campus training. Wolfgang Gulick, I guess 25 years ago, was training on the original campus board here at the university. And now, of course, campus training is popularized. It's hard to find, at least in America and perhaps in the world, it's hard to find a gym that doesn't have some kind of campus board. But of course, we see many people using the campus board that probably shouldn't be just yet.
Yeah.
How do you qualify, if somebody walks into the gym here at Cafe Kraft, how do you qualify somebody as being ready to begin campus training versus no, you're not ready for it?
Yeah, at first we don't recommend it to beginners, and we don't recommend it to climbers up to the age of, let's say, 15 or 16. And then when it comes to the age up 16, campus sport is not just only campusing without feet. We start always with some feet support, you know.
Right.
And when I walked in the climbing gyms, and often the people ask me, hey, you know about those training things. What do you say about our campus sport? And I take a look on it and said, okay, it's okay, but where are the footholds, you know, just for starting, getting into it with some foot support.
Right.
And this is, I think, a very big mistake of campus sporting, that people think, okay, they see some videos of Wolfgang Güllich or some photos, and okay, when I do this, I have to start with the one-arm campus dead hang or stuff like this. No, you have to get into it with feet first, and then go further, and when it comes to youth climbers, we don't start with campusing before 17 when it comes to for no foot, and then also it's the size of the holes. More and more the sloper holes get popular, which we said a few years ago. But why do you choose only those small edges? Try to use those sloper holes, you know, those round holes, which are much better for training the flexors.
Right.
And campus sport is at first training the flexors, and only at second training the finger power. But if you want to have finger power, it comes to fingerboarding. This is the instrument to get finger power.
Right.
Campus sport leads them together, but at first you train the flexors, and the problem with campus sport is always throwing your arm up. When you do hard moves on the campus sport, it gets on your shoulder, the impact, you know, with the rotator cuff, and the people go to it, and they haven't trained the rotator cuff first. So when somebody comes to us and we see, okay, he has some problems with the flexors, we first get him on sloper holds, and every time parallel, do a rotator cuff routine, which is a kind of dynamic stabilization, not the Saraband thing, you know.
Right.
I never have seen a movement like that. It's a popular rotator cuff exercise with the Saraband doing this movement.
It's from
it's kind of strange, you know.
physiotherapist,
And even the elbow is not free. There's no free, no degree here. It's just leaning here on the trunk. So, what's this movement? You know,
Right.
You have
too basic.
Yeah, it's too basic. You know, it's for rehabilitation. It's perfect. You know, to start with, get into it with a shoulder surgery or something like that.
Yeah.
But not for a advanced climber. Yeah, you have to put into more degrees of.
Yeah, I like that approach. I mean, I think you need to be training scapular stability at the same time as actually before you begin the campus training. Stability before strength before power is kind of
where are the shoulders? Are they here? When they do this is not the right position is here.
Right.
And so we see, okay, you show me something on the campus board, and then they go like this, say, okay, go back to the bar, and you try to bring your scapula in the right position, and then you can make the moves. And it's more that you're looking to quality, than more on quality than quantity.
And that's
when you see the quality of the movement. It's not only to like this. It's more that you be focused on the right position, and the elbows always a bit inward rotated, and not like this. Always a bit pressure, and this is what they have to learn before. Bring them to the pull-up bar and say, okay, do a pull-up from this position, and your elbows turned a bit inward, and this is the right pull-up. And then when you can transfer this to the campus board and use you have the stability here.
Yeah, so there's a definitive technique to campus training properly.
Mostly everyone focuses on distance at the campus board. A little hole.
147 they gotta do.
147. And a lot of.
And then they wonder why they get injured. You know.
That's right.
Some problems here, and also here.
Very few focus on technique.
Yeah. I had one person email me recently. They said they campus train 1 hour per day, 4 days per week. And I'm like, what are you doing for 1 hour on the campus board? And I mean, you're injury waiting to happen, right?
That's right.
You don't.
That's right.
You don't need that much time.
That's right.
It's just a piece of the training program.
That's right.
Exactly. And for beginners, also go climbing and not to the campus. But what do you want? But the problem is,
even when it comes to elite athletes, we don't recommend do it more than twice a week.
No. But a lot of them, they are coming and say, okay, I want to know some more exercises on the campus board. And then we say, okay, and on the fingerboard. And then you must say, okay, there are some exercises, but campus sport is not that you can do 150 different exercises. It's a like this, with feet, without feet, and you can do some exercises, but it's not that wow, super training.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and you can't do everything in one workout either. I mean, Gimme Kraft is a book full of exercises, but you can't do every exercise in a workout, right? That's where programming comes in, and hopefully having a knowledgeable coach to help you create that program.
Yeah, I think in a few years, every professional climber has his coach.
Yeah. I
It
think
comes
so too,
to it. It's going this way, and this changed a lot in the last years. Everybody's thought, I have the secret of training. This is my secret of training, and then now they open their eyes and the ears and they hear and see and say, maybe I can learn something there and learn something there, and this is changing a lot.
Yeah, I think the pros maybe are becoming a little more savvy in that regard. I mean, you look at professional sports, whether it's soccer or American football,
that's right.
or golf, and the best players in the world still have coaches.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't coach themselves.
No.
So there is, I guess, a recognition that there's a need to tap into somebody who is, can provide that input and create a program appropriate for that individual.
And also this external side, side from outside. I see you, and I can give you some things you would never think about.
Right.
We recognize this the past years. It's so important for an athlete. He's just in his own world and thinking, I need that and I need that, and then I come and say, okay, you think you need that, but try the other thing here. Try this one. And he said, okay, I never thought about this.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed with climbers that I coach is they when they design their own programs, they tend to do the things they're good at. Because everybody likes to do what they're good at, right? Yeah. If you're good at one-arm pull-ups, you do one-arm pull-ups, right?
Looks good in the gym when you could do the
and
the front lever.
But maybe their antagonist muscles are weak, and they don't like to do that. And that's where you need a coach to maybe help provide that input and accountability in terms of you need to get that done.
I often ask climbers who do it like that, or when I notice they work like that, I say, okay, are you ready to get down with your self-esteem a little bit? Your self-concept, or I think it's self-esteem in English language. Then okay, that's the way it works for the next weeks. Yeah, you will feel weak, you will feel bad, but then it will rise. Not every training is like, okay, I feel in shape and I feel strong. No, we have you to feel weak now. We have you to feel bad, and then we work on your weaknesses.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the pathway to excellence.
Yeah,
the pathway to improvement.
Yeah,
it's funny, my kids who are young climbers, sometimes we get on a climb outside that reveals one of their weaknesses. Maybe not, twisting their hips properly or building their feet properly, and they're like, "Oh, Dad, this climb is so hard for me. Let's go find another climb." And I'm like, "No, let's take a minute here, and work on learning something that'll make you a better climber." And so while the route may not be so fun for them at the moment, I try to communicate to them that the fact that they are feeling humbled by the climb is telling them something, that there's something here you need to work on, perhaps. So it does take a level of maturity, I think, to recognize that, okay, I'm gonna suck for a day, on this route,
That's right,
or this coach is revealing something that I'm not very good at, and but that's ultimately the pathway to improvement.
Makes you mental stronger too, over the
and that part is that training doesn't go always in this way. It goes this, and then you have a plateau, and it goes to, and here you learn a lot. Here you learn about yourself, about how can I do more, and this is it's a process, and it's very important that you
and the better you climb, the tougher those plateaus are to break above in terms of dialing things in.
And then
That's
talk to
right.
professional climbers. Oh, what can I do? I must do more. I must do. Okay, slow down. Where are you now? And patience also. Patience, because when they are young, it goes like, whoop, yeah.
Right.
But then you have to
That's right.
come to the plateau to learn.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, well, to wrap things up, I guess a final word of advice, like some average climber walks in the door. Maybe it's somebody that is in their 20s or 30s getting into climbing and wants to be coached. What is like some of the first advice you give somebody? Patrick?
For me, it's the first thing which is very important to get an insight about his life circumstances. And so I will tell him, okay, first question for me, a first important thing for me is how can you implement the training stuff in your work, life, family balance, And are you sure that the things what I give to you then are realized, or is it just the thing I talked from the beginning, feeling good to take this plan, getting in the frame at home in the living room, but
Right.
after a week, okay, no, I can't deal with this. This is the most important thing for me as a trainer, to see, okay, I'm let's say what I tell him is proper. He can realize it, and for him that he just does it, not just sell him this plan and say, okay, do what you want to do. So this is, I think, the most important thing for me. Yeah,
Okay.
and I would tell him.
Yeah, and Dicki?
Yeah. For me, I say climb and have fun. This is
sure,
the first. Fun is so important, and when because a lot of climbers, they see the training area and say, I want to train also. They start climbing, and then at the same time they start training. And my philosophy is to say, climb, learn in climbing, and nobody said you must do this move like this. Your body knows what to do. Everybody knows how to climb. Climbing is a natural thing, and climb. This is learning and training. In the beginning, it's a lot, and it's enough. And then when it comes to maybe I can do a bit more, then it comes to train. But first, go climbing and enjoy this and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice for anybody. I mean, we all get into climbing because it's fun and it's enjoyable.
And not the
then
serious way.
It shouldn't feel like a job, right?
No,
That's right,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe this makes this to a special sport too, some having fun and.
Yeah. And it's a life sport.
That's
I mean,
right, yeah.
that you
That's
can
right.
carry on into your 50s in my
Come on,
case.
you can climb it like old guys like this here.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate your time in this interview. Again, congratulations on the success of Gimme Kraft. It's an excellent collection of exercises, and I'm waiting for Gimme Kraft 2, which will then take things to the next level. So
we're thinking about it. We have some stuff already,
Yeah.
Thank you for the interest.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
Hey,
thank
Eric.
you, Dicki.
Thank you, Eric.
And
All
if
the
you
best.
haven't checked out Gimme Kraft book, you can do so at gimmecraft.com. If you're in North America and you want to buy a copy of the book, go to gimmecraft.us. Thanks, guys.
Super.
Keep it real.
Gimme Kraft.